Radio TV phono nut. It's about 3:36 in the afternoon down here in somewhere in Mississippi, and we have a Grundig Yacht Boy 400 multi-band radio that I bought at an estate sale the other day, and yes, I did get the case for it. She wanted 40 bucks for it, and I wasn't going to pay that for something that we didn't know if it worked or not. And I mean, I didn't even ask her for a price reduction, but I've done a lot of business with her, and she told me she'd let me have it for 20, so I said, well, for 20 I'll take a chance on it. Everything this guy had looked well cared for, but nothing really that old there. This was really the only thing there of interest to me. I popped some batteries in it and it works. So let's do an AM band scan at 3:30 whatever in the afternoon. I hope we can compete with the noise from this camera here. Okay, maybe if I get it away from it we can do this. Start out at 540. There's something at 630, something at 640, WSM barely coming in at 650, something at 660, 670, that's the Black Gospel station that's almost impossible to get anymore, 680, 690, 700, I'm pretty sure that's WLW out of Cincinnati. 10, 20, that's 720, that's probably WGN out of Chicago.
How are you today, Catherine? I'm good, thanks.
730, 740, something playing music, but I can't hardly make any of it out. Could that be the station out of Canada that plays the oldies? 750, that's WSB out of Atlanta. Something at 760, 770. Something barely there, but I can't make it out. 780, that's WBBM. 790, 800, 10, 20. 30, 40, 50. WWL just barely coming in at 870.
In lawn service today, 601-880-3970.
Think about it sometimes.
940, I think that's WCPC out of Houston, Mississippi. 50,000 watt gospel station.
With soft, silky, naturally
that's
new
local.
I knew it was going to
1040, that's
I remember being in New
what,
York,
WHO, I think.
They announced 5 minutes.
Some of them look like they may be motion furniture.
1070, that's probably WDIA out of Memphis. 1090, I'm hearing a little bit of something there. That's probably KAAY out of Little Rock. Something at 1110, have no idea. 1120, that's KMOX, barely coming in. 1150, that's the True Oldies channel out of Tuscaloosa that comes and goes.
You're going to start squeezing out because you guys have been.
Something at 1180.
I don't think so, guys. I think, this time, I'm going to sit this one out. I really like it.
1240. Let's see if 1200. No, that's not coming in yet. Yeah, something at 1240.
30. Guys, we're by the
1270, yeah, the higher end of the band comes in better
If you would like to
this
help
time of day. 1290, 1300.
on him, but you know, unless you can name your successor,
Something at
and get away with it.
1330. That's our 1390.
The average life is 55 or something like that. And
St. Jude is
That's
either gold-
local.
they did not feel comfortable.
1510, that's WLAC out of Nashville.
University,
Yeah, so maybe Ramsey Plus, were you going to give that?
1620, I think that's out of Pensacola. That's coming in pretty strong.
And the fear in his eyes when I
1640. Okay, that's it. Let's see if 650's coming in. Just barely. Okay. Next up we have a GE Superadio 3 from the 90s. I bought this at a flea market several years ago for a couple of dollars. And the battery compartment door was missing, and I found one off of eBay. Paid more for the battery compartment door than I did for the whole radio. Obviously this one will have better sound quality than the little Grundig, and this one of course uses an analog dial, whereas the Grundig has digital tuning. So let's see how this one measures up. Okay, WSM is coming in a little bit better. Alright, here's the Grundig back on WSM. It's also coming in a little better on it now.
Reported 275 eastbound, arrest is 474 to the right lane. First 75 coming to Kentucky, your 12 Burlington Pike.
It's probably WLW. So that's got the plane go over. Yep, they just announced WLW. Naturally the battery's going to die.
You're in touch with
What time?
No, I'm in every Saturday.
Got to be full. Scary.
So I can't do this the way I want to do it, but I think the Grundig, or excuse me, I think the GE is probably a bit more sensitive, although both are respectable radios. Okay, it's now 4:36 in the evening. Got a little charge on this battery. I need to order a battery to have as a backup, because on this particular battery it can show as having a full charge, and then before you know it, it plummets down to flashing red, and then in under a minute you're not taking video anymore. Alright, let's turn the Grundig back on. That's 650. And let's turn the Superadio back on after the plane flies over.
From Midland on 650 AM WSM, the radio home of the Grand Ole Opry. You want to see the show that made country music famous in person? Get tickets now at Opry.com. There are shows scheduled throughout the next 6 months
Now,
or so.
one thing the GE has,
it's now surprise.
is a wideband selection for AM.
Now, if you can't make it to Music City, we always air the Grand Ole Opry here on WSM.
Now, and set to wideband, and if you have a properly engineered music station, it can sound almost as good or as good as FM radio. But the reason we need narrowband is for selectivity purposes. If we ran it in wideband all the time, our selectivity wouldn't be as good. I've also discovered that the dial tracking seems to be off on the Superadio, so it needs an alignment. Maybe one day I'll track down a service manual if there's one available and align this, and then maybe we can have a true fair comparison between the two. And if that time comes, I'll make sure to have the battery charged so I can do a side-by-side true band scan of the two. Now, both of these are nice radios. They are both more sensitive than your garden variety AA5 or AA6 tube radios. And something like this is nice to have on hand for emergencies. But the thing is, if God forbid we ever have a nuclear attack and an EMP takes place, then that's going to wipe out these solid state radios. That's why we have this old school tube portable here. Although not nearly as sensitive as these two, it still works and gets the job done. In fact, let's see if we can get 650 to come in on this one.
Nashville's most accurate and dependable forecast.
Well, that was already off, dummy. Alright, so let's orient this one.
But I promise you, along the way, and my question...
Ulysses Philibom, attorneys at law. Looking for a stop?
I am not aware of any other state, and
no one No, this one's not even bringing in 650. At 670, the gospel station barely coming in. At 650 is not happening on this old one. Alright, this old one is bringing in some distant stations, but not like the Superadio or the Grundig. And yes, this old one has been serviced and aligned. Alright, there we are in wideband mode, and there's normal.
it's really...
I was going to say, he's
500, like not...
what are the business?
EU admission.
Vatican II works for.
Pictures that are there are
When you got it, because Mason's up. So Cabrini Green.
You know, there was a poem with M-Drive.
Just say Alexa.
I think it's different.
Call from slave.
The whole issue's easier. All walks of life.
Walgreens, Rite Aid, vitamins.
Literally the worst ever.
Guys are. You get
On a bar stool.
the public. Oh, okay, you're talking about
Super fast.
Be here. Here's that.
But like I said, both of these radios are respectable radios, but I think the GE Superadio is a little bit more robust in the fact that it has a bigger ferrite bar antenna that obviously would not fit inside of this thing is part of the reason for that. But both of them are nice radios and well worth hanging on to. And as much as I like my garden variety tube radios that I have scattered all over the place, I suspect these two would put them all to shame. That's not to say there hasn't been some high performance tube radios made, but I really don't have any at my disposal right now, and most of the high performance tube radios rely on a good long wire outdoor antenna and ground system to achieve the same performance that we're getting with these radios with an internal antenna.
Right hand side, West 275.
So WLW coming in better at 700.
Before, I mean, it sounds like
WGN at 740. Maybe that's the station out of Canada. I'll try to listen to it a few minutes and see.
Zoomer Radio and the Queen of Soul.
Yep, it is.
Spanish Harlem. And for the last 12 and going on 13 years now.
That's a station that's really hard for me to get, and usually by the time the sun goes down, there are other stations at 1240 that, 740 that knock it out of the water.
Throughout the city to make a cash check or credit card.
This is the station that everybody raves about, and everybody wishes they had a station like this in their area.
We still have a wind warning in effect for the city of Toronto with gusts reaching 90 kilometers an hour. The winds will diminish overnight tonight, and we're looking at a low near -1. There's a lot of running around.
But this is not bad for 4:43 in the afternoon.
Something's breaking down at home, and that used to cause me and I bet a whole lot of people a lot of.
WABC 770 is one I've never picked up down here.
Wait 40, WHAS.
That's Louisville, WHAS.
Holiday season with the Ranger, but
WL New Orleans, WLS Chicago.
Notice what it's
Your financial gift.
1090 KAAY, Little Rock.
Why do we need to kill the mice?
KMOX 1120, St. Louis.
They are
Yeah, it is nice that this has a digital display, and therefore you have a better idea of what station you're tuned to.
Painted and hand wrote testifies to the
1260, I think that's the station that's ran by the school district in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
that this happens to 661, and you fought for them. That all comes out.
Let's punch in 740 again and see if we can get anything.
More traffic a minute. Dalton Zimmer Radio. Being at home for this long has taught us.
I'll have to say, I don't think this station has ever came in this good.
Maryland is making comfortable.
And here's 740 on the Superadio, but a talk station's trying to move its way in.
I wasn't able to respond.
Contribute to the financial security and retirement generation.
the CPP fund compared to other
Yeah, this is what happens when it gets closer to dark. The other stations at 740 try to move in on top of the Canadian station.
Our governance structure really is recognized as best in class, and the fund is sustainable for at least 75 more years.
Learn more about the performance of the CPP fund and CPP Investments' commitment to you. Go to CPP.
Come on, get back to the music.
The Olympic torch will burn in Beijing this winter. How will Canadian athletes fare? Could we even be there? On the Naz and Gully Sports Hour, there's room on the podium for every point of view. Sunday mornings at 9 on Zoomer Radio.
Have you tried Pizza Bill's thinner, lighter, and tastier 11-inch extra thin crust gourmet pizzas? Order 2 11-inch extra thin crust gourmet pizzas for
Order online.
Season's greetings from Zoomer Radio, the original greatest Christmas hits.
Right now the Superadio is bringing in 740 better than the Grundig. Let's move the Grundig back to the approximate position. Yeah, there we go.
Bowl game in preparation for Sundays. And it's Assistant State Head Coach Mike Leach was asked about this kind of approach, and this
Okay, let's get off of this before we... Since we're doing so well, could I get 77 WABC to come in?
Loaded up 2 from 90 down to the mile-long bridge, heading north in the Bishopport to home.
Now this radio, of course, does have short wave that the GE doesn't have, and hadn't really played with that much. About all I can get on short wave in my area is the late Brother Stare on about 50 different frequencies and some Spanish, and that's about it.
WBBF AccuWeather. Colder today done with some patience.
Okay, 650 starting to come in on the oldie here with the volume cranked all the way up. Yeah, like on this radio, I can punch in 740 and know I'm on 740. On something like this, or even this, with an analog dial, there may be some question, because obviously they're not going to be as accurate as a digitally tuned receiver like this. So yeah, I'm happy with my $20 purchase. Well, Zoomer Radio has pretty much faded into oblivion, so we're going to end this with some WSM that's coming in pretty good. Now, if this tube radio had an RF amplifier stage, it would do better, but this was an entry-level little portable radio, so no, it's not going to do as good as these two more modern radios. Now, there are some modern radios that are utter garbage, but they sell very cheaply. These two radios here weren't your $12.99 Walmart special.
That's Rodney Atkins. These are my people on 650 AM WSM, where country music lives. I'm Lexi Carter. Thanks for tuning in. We've got music on the way from Coney Johnson, plus a holiday favorite from Elvis Presley, Faith Hill, Garth Brooks, and more, all coming up here on the radio.
And with AM radio being what it is today, you need all the sensitivity and selectivity and all the airplanes you can get.